We also like to talk about the latest trends in technology and apps related to sports, related to health, and related to fitness. And there is a brand new watch for referees to try and get referees more interested in being involved in the game. You might not be the greatest player, but you might enjoy refereeing. In fact, you might just enjoy refereeing full stop. So we have got in the studio in just a moment the CEO of Refsix, Hassan Rajwani, to tell us about his product. But first, let's take a closer look at Refsix. So there you have it, the Refsix watch for referees, the app for all of you young budding referees. And joining me now is the CEO of Refsix, Hassan Rajwani. Welcome to Sportuccino. We've just seen a promo all about your product. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Sure, so effectively what we've built is a smartwatch and mobile app for referees. It does two major things. One, it helps streamline and digitize the administration process that referees have, so it saves them time.
Everyone hates paperwork.
Everyone hates paperwork. And with that time that we're giving back, we're helping them develop as a referee. So we're tracking their performance during a game and giving them stats and insights about their game so that they can share that with their coaches and improve their training and development, basically.
Okay, so where did this idea come from?
So I'm a football referee myself. About 8 years ago when I first did the course, I realised that we were writing a lot of stuff down on paper. The first thing that came to my mind was, what happens if it rains? This was just going to fall apart. And it was just about the time that the iPhone got released. So what we looked at was, can we build an app for an iPhone that referees could use? So we did that, and we had this vision of referees running around with an iPhone. That didn't really pan out. Referees didn't feel comfortable using this device. And then Apple released their Apple Watch. So we said, okay, well that's the perfect medium for what we're trying to do. And we built a watch app for referees from there.
So it's all based around Apple and iPhone, but actually your product's on Android. Why did you decide to do that?
Sure. So when we started building, the Apple Watch didn't have any GPS tracking at the start. And some of the Android Wear watches did. So that's why we started off with Android. We knew that the physical statistics recording was important for referees. So we targeted Android first. And now, just a few months ago, Apple have released the Watch Series 2, which does have GPS. So that's what we're building now as well.
How long till
that's ready? We're looking for a launch early January.
Okay, exciting. So I saw on your website it's £180, is that correct?
Yeah, so at the moment we've got two models. The first one where we're selling directly to referees. The £180 comes with a watch. But what we're going to move away from that and just sell the app. So the app will be a £40 subscription annually. So a referee can download it whether they're on an iPhone or an Android and use it with their smartwatch of choice, basically.
So what's your market there? Is it for your everyday referee, or are you looking for potential leagues to be involved?
Sure. So our major play is, how do we bring some of the elite level tracking technology that they use through ProZone down to grassroots? So we are approaching the grassroots referees in two ways. One is direct to referees, saying, referee, here's a product for you, this is going to help you improve, would you like to buy it? But then we're also partnering with leagues as well, so that we can get their administration processes in there. So it's kind of a twofold approach to the market.
And have you had referees from different levels check it out, and what's been their feedback?
Yeah, sure. So our initial beta users are all around the world. Our main 3 countries are the US, UK, and Netherlands, and that's at all levels of the game. So we've got referees up to, in the UK, a 2B. It's been used on an FA Cup qualifying game, an FA Trophy game, just under the conference as well. So we've had a variety of different levels of referees, and the feedback has been great. A lot of the feedback has really been about, hey, I really love this, I need this extra new feature. So for example, in the UK, referees don't really record who scores a goal, but in Netherlands and the US they do, so we've needed to build that feature to give that to our customers. But other than that, the feedback has been very, very positive, really happy with how it's going, and now it's about building those extra new features and then kind of marketing and telling referees about how great a product we're building.
It must be also quite interesting for some of the clubs, because when you play at a lower league level, or in fact at any level, everyone likes to know how many goals they scored and everything like that. So already, if the refs are tracking that, you've got data there, which I'm sure some of these teams would be able to take and use themselves.
Yeah, there's a variety of different tools available for clubs to track this, but effectively what we've got is the authority on that data, which is the referee. So eventually, when we've got full capacity on leagues, we'll be able to share that data with the leagues and the clubs themselves, so they can start tracking their results and their goal scorers, etc. Yeah.
Are there any plans for any other sports other than football?
Yeah, so we're starting off with football mainly because as a team there's 7 of us and 5 of us are football referees. So we know football, but we've already spoken to rugby referees, lacrosse referees, hockey referees, and American football referees. So the plan next year is to effectively research a variety of different sports and work out how we can approach them. I'm actually doing a rugby referee course this year and an American football referee course this year. So that's how we're planning to learn a bit more about the sports.
Oh, fantastic. Now, you say you were a referee and that's what got you interested. Now, apart from your watch and apart from the application and everything to do with it, what other incentives are there for people to become referees? Because it can be a pretty brutal job, to be honest.
It is definitely a role for someone with thick skin. But Howard Webb, I went to his autobiography launch on Thursday, and he said, it's a great phrase, I had the best seat in the house. So if you're a football referee, if you're interested in football, becoming a football referee gives you a new pathway in terms of a career in football. And it's great. You can go all over the world, traveling, meeting a load of new people, falling in love with a game that you already love. So for example, myself, I've refereed at the Olympic Stadium in Lisbon, for example.
Wow.
There was 12 people in the stadium, but it just shows...
And a dog?
And a dog. There was a man and his dog, yeah. But it just shows that there are so many opportunities around refereeing that people don't really see from the outside. But you can travel all over the world. You make great friends. And it's a great way to kind of continue participation in the sport.
Well, just before you go, I'd love to get your thoughts on today's poll. In fact, let's have a look at it again on the screen. Here is today's poll. Does English football still need 2 domestic cup competitions? What do you think about that, Hassan?
So I'll give you a couple of answers. I'm a Newcastle fan. We're obviously in the Championship.
We're
doing well. We're doing well.
So
today I'm very... we've got Preston tonight, and I think we've got a good chance of actually progressing quite far. So for me, as a Newcastle fan, I'm definitely interested in keeping the cup competitions. As a referee as well, it gives referees more games, more opportunities to develop. So for that reason, I think it's a great incentive to keep 2. The one thing I would say that would probably add a lot more value is, especially around the FA Cup, why not consider the Champions League a spot for the winner instead of the Europa League? So that's to keep the incentive and the teams fielding out their first team. Why not do that?
Yeah, I think that would be better for the FA Cup. I personally prefer to see just one competition. I'd like to see just the FA Cup. And if you were to give that cherry of the Champions League, it would make teams work a little bit harder for it. You know, the fact that teams put out like their second teams, I don't really appreciate that.
Sure.
And I think there's just too much football. If you look at how exhausted some of the England players were, and not very good as well, in the Euros, you could argue that the lack of a winter break. Now, if you were to get rid of these League Cup fixtures, replace them with some of the matches which would be played over Well, it doesn't. The winter break doesn't even have to be at Christmas. It could actually be in January. We can have our traditional Christmas period, remove some games in January, and move them to where would be the League Cup. I think that would keep everyone fresher, and it's fun being at the football when it's freezing, but it's also horrible at the same time. So if we can take January off, I'd be happy with that.
Sure, I think there's so many different ways of viewing it. It's especially when you're looking at the England team. Do they need a lot more of a rest? So we're never going to hear the right answer to this question, but it will be great to see what your viewers say on the poll.
Yeah, it'd be great. Remember, you can do that on the poll at Sportuccino. Also mention it on the comments page on Facebook and on the comments page on YouTube, because for the second day in a row, we are dual streaming on Facebook Live and on YouTube. It is very exciting here at Sportuccino HQ. Well, Hassan, thank you so much for your time today. Just before you go, why don't you give us a reminder of how we can follow Refsix, where you are online, where you are on social media, and also about yourself, where we can learn more about your great sports knowledge.
Perfect, sure. So I'm on Twitter at Hassan Rajwani, and then Refsix is on Twitter and Facebook. We're actually running a competition for a signed Howard Webb autobiography, so check that out. But at Refsix on Twitter and Refsix on Facebook.
Oh, can I enter that competition?
You can indeed, yes.
Oh, that's good. I'd like a signed autobiography. Then I can give it away on Sportuccino, no?
Possibly, yeah.
I'm joking, no worries.